But
Dungeon
yeah, we're definitely
Dumans,
live now.
Let's Talk Lore,
All right,
a
welcome back to Let's
podcast.
Talk Lore, another episode. But we're talking about magic items tonight.
But first, roll high and subscribe.
Yeah, roll high, subscribe, hit that button.
Yeah.
So, magic items.
Homebrew magic items. So, there's many ways to think about. Well, magic items in general, adding into your game are going to change the way you do it, but that's something that players love to find. Those
Right.
cool little things, the slightly better weapon,
Right.
slightly better armor. So all the published works and adventures, and there's a fairly big list of magic items in the game, or in whatever game you're playing. The game we're playing,
Right.
D&D 5e, there's a large number of magic items. So why would you want to homebrew one?
Well,
why not just grab something that's there?
I have given you guys, when I was DMing, I gave you guys so many magic items, and I quite honestly didn't know exactly how powerful they were. But I did learn from that experience, at least,
Well, I will say you did have a way of managing it. You just kill the players and they loot all those magic items away.
I didn't kill that many.
You just have two more to get to.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, so to answer your question, why would you want to make a homebrew a magic item? Now, I mean, I guess it depends on your players, really. Like, do they want the items? Do they need the items? Did you make a too powerful type thing, monster or puzzle? Does part of the puzzle, there's a lot of questions. Is the puzzle made for the item? Is the story arc part of the item? So there's all that to consider. But just in general, I think homebrewing a magic item seems sort of nice because you can, one, add your players' backstories for the engagement. Remember, Let's Talk Lore is very focused on engagement and player immersion. And what's more immersive than a item that someone else has created that belongs to your character's backstory, which is awesome. So that's why I like to do it. But creating one is tough. Do you guys want to role play a little bit better? Maybe the item makes you act a specific way, or do you need to be stronger? It gives you plus,
Well, you hit my first note about why of backstory, and that's one thing I love to do, and what I'm hoping to do when we create a homebrew magic item for our campaign at the a little bit later tonight. Drawing something into the backstory and creating something unique, something that's going to be memorable, that's not just that fancy +1 sword that anyone can get. That's something that's specific to this game, this character, this story that you're building.
Right.
So it could be something from the backstory, something relating to your big bad evil guy.
Right.
And something else I always...
Black Americans about 13 or 14%.
And I was just giving that was too much of a hint for you, Spencer. I love to add cursed and sentient magic items in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's always fun for roleplay stuff and the curse doesn't have to be anything crazy, but adding those little flavor elements to it, other ways to roleplay, other ways to impart, having a sentient magic item, just impart little bits of guidance to a certain character, try and help lead the party. It's a great way to insert bits of lore or other elements of world building.
I love the sentient. You mean the item itself has a mind?
Yeah.
And the question is I've used a couple of those, and I don't know if I took full advantage of it. What was a good example of one? The sword that or the gloves. I gave you guys gloves that want certain things. So if you're wearing it, it'll I think it reaches for something, or the sword that like can tell the truth. Like
Yeah.
it's not you use it and then the player knows the truth. It's you use it and it tells you the truth, or role play that. Role play how your character, I love the idea of magic items that like bring you into the game. So let's just say like we have a couple players who are not role play friendly.
Hmm.
Sometimes like getting past that initial barrier of role play just entails a little bit of maybe a little embarrassment. So like maybe you have the magic item like affect the group so that everyone has to do it and share in the experience. So you know, uh, I don't know.
Well, some effects of that magic item can affect the entire party. Like one of my favorites is the Berserker axe or great axe curse that you can go into a frenzy and attack and kill everyone in your party. And I dropped that on a barbarian in. Actually, this is a great point. When I brought Drake into my local games campaign as my little mini boss, I gave
Nice.
him that Berserker axe, and my barbarian wanted that immediately, and it created a whole other arc of trying to break this axe from the character. It
Right.
like built in like a camaraderie of like we have to help him. Um, and when the axe was almost lost, actually was lost, uh, all the struggle that went around it, just like something little like that, making such a big impact.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a small little item can lead to large things. Just as
Yeah.
that doctor in that movie Prometheus said, the Aliens movie, small what is it? Large things have such small beginnings. I mean, a magic item could be a whole. Right now, you guys in our Agoth Doomhand campaign, every Monday, or every other Monday rather,
Yeah.
you guys are looking for an item. So that's just a
Yeah.
point,
Well, we're looking for a MacGuffin.
Yeah. But yeah, I think why would you want to do it? Just because it adds more, it makes it interesting, and it also can
Yeah.
make it random. Like your item doesn't have to, your magic item does not have to be the Wand of Wonder. Does not
Right.
that, which I think is awesome, but it in itself is a little bit. Once you start using it over and over and over again, it gets a little bit old too. And one of the things that I like about the way that you suggested. How do you deal? This is a while ago. How do you deal with like too many magic items? Well, just like milk, a magic item can have an expiration date. And a lot of these items that I've seen have these little like trinkets on them or a glowing emblem or something that you can count down until like the next moon or whatever, that sort of limits how often you can use it. But you told me a while ago that maybe the item, the more you use it, the more weathered it gets and it doesn't work anymore, or maybe it just breaks. You can always roll and have that magic item break and cause like something else to happen, which is cool because it gives a little, you know,
What like the what magic item did? Oh, the rod of
thunderstorms or whatever it
no,
was.
the immovable rod
The immovable
that
rod.
I had you guys shatter and
Yeah,
explode.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But for specific for homebrew magic items, it's like bringing all of that into something specific to your campaign um, really brings a other element of immersion.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I again, there can be so many like different things that happen from the item um, that sort of help you tell the story. So it could be a random table. It could, I mean, the item can be, it gives you like intelligence or maybe it has negative traits. I love the idea of having both positive and negative traits. Like our story, we're finding these skulls and we're going to try to put them in our minds and these little fragments of crystals. We're going to try to put them in our minds. And like, how do you obviously you're going to benefit from it. So like the green skull is part of nature, but nature is not just good or bad, it's both. So like I think thinking of like a magic item in that sense, and obviously it depends on what kind of item it is, but having putting a little bit of like fear in the player for using the item is also it just adds another layer to everything.
Well, I think that you enjoy torturing us in all aspects of gameplay, and I'm okay with that. I love to do that to you guys too. You just don't know about it.
It's true. It's true. I mean, listen, the horn of the berserker. I hate when that thing goes off and then Aaron blows it, and there's 50 berserkers, and now I have to deal with it. Not only deal with it, but we have to DM it. So maybe put a little homebrew magic in there. Maybe there's an off chance that the berserkers are bad.
Or you could always have a thief in the night.
Right. I don't. They got to roll high.
No.
You got to listen. If you're gonna have a thief in the night, if you're gonna deal with stealing if the magic item is too annoying, it's fun but annoying. Like I gave you the Horn of Berserker to fight like a big bad, which you needed, the Elder Brain, and then you held onto it and you used it to fight the dragon, which was good. You needed it, but now it's sort of to me it's distasteful and as a DM to use that every time that there's something serious. So maybe you put a thief in the night. But you know what? You got to roll for that thief. Everyone's got to see you roll for that thief. And if you roll low, the thief gets caught. My goodness. And that's a great world building experience because not only is Matt going to kill this guy immediately, he's going to find out information from him somehow.
Well,
too.
He's going to find out who told him you guys were there and had fancy things.
Oh, yeah. And then story arc,
Yep.
And then he's going to know that guy's boss has magic items as well. So,
yeah.
It's great.
And
it's
then
like a good.
And then they pick up random orb and can't drop it and are always in constant communication with a frog.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you have to hold on to it. So maybe you have, however you want to hold on to it.
Yep.
Negative advantage, you have disadvantage on certain things, but you can communicate with the frog.
Your unarmed strikes do more damage.
You know where the best lily pads are,
Yes.
But yeah, so I think magic items it's just sort of a way to. I mean, there's so much you can do with just an item. Like, where did it come from? Who made it? Who's trying to get it? Did the thief try to steal it? What is it? Why is it talking? What are the benefits of it? Like, you don't need to and also if you don't need to tell people what it is. But you can, I like telling people what the magic items do, but they are found and you do have to attune to them. So maybe you wait for the attuning to happen before you get the benefits, or maybe you do a roll because.
Well, there's the spell identify in D&D exists for a reason.
That's exactly right. We're talking like Diablo style now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's magical. It glows.
Yeah.
But I think that leads right into a next topic, which is how do you build one of these? Like what specific aspects are you going to want to try and bring into it?
That's good.
Dungeon Doom Hands, Let's Talk Lore, a podcast.